Welcome back to Info Squad, where truth equals freedom. Unfolding daily in front of our eyes is the world of Big Brother and thought control that was portrayed in George Orwell's classics like 1984. 1984 was written over 60 years ago in 1948. It portrays a stunningly accurate and frightening picture of where we are potentially heading as a global society.
Think about it, but most of us are getting caught on camera at some point after we leave our homes. 22 News reporter David McKay wanted to find out if it bothers you to be almost constantly under surveillance.
The majority of people I spoke with today said they aren't bothered by public surveillance, but only to a certain extent.
Concerns surrounding new smart streetlights. Can they spy on you? Well, maybe even see into your home.
Yeah, right now you've got some of the biggest LED light-making companies in the world, including Philips and Siemens, going at each other trying to win this city contract.
Despite the book being released as fiction, and despite its title, it was almost certainly based on a vision of our future and is planned not for 1984, but for many years later. The year 1984 was symbolic and was significant to the secret society that George Orwell belonged to. George Orwell, whose real name is Eric Arthur Blair, was educated at Eton College, a well-known Illuminati education center that has produced 19 British prime ministers, including David Cameron. While at Eton, George Orwell was taught French by Aldous Huxley. It was here that they became long-life friends.
Mr. Huxley, in your new essays, you state that these various enemies of freedom are pushing us toward a real-life, brave new world, and you say that it's awaiting us just around the corner. First of all, can you detail for us what life in this brave new world which you fear so much, or what life might be like?
Well, to start with, I think this kind of the dictatorship of the future, I think will be very unlike the dictatorships which we've been familiar with in the immediate past. But if you want to preserve your power indefinitely, you have to get the consent of the ruled. And this they will do partly by drugs, as I foresaw in Brave New World, partly by these new techniques of propaganda. They will do it by bypassing the sort of rational side of man and appealing to his subconscious and his deeper emotions and his physiology even, and so making him actually love his slavery. I mean, I think this is the danger, that actually people may be in some ways happy under the new regime.
Huxley, who was also the author of another interesting book known as Brave New World, introduced George Orwell to the Fabian Society. The Fabian Society is a secret society at its core. Like many other secret societies, there are levels of initiation. This usually means that the people at the bottom have no idea of the true agenda carried out by those at the top. The Fabian Society has been instrumental in the global fascist agenda. It was the force behind the creation of the Labour Party in Britain and operates both officially and unofficially across the globe. The name Fabian comes from a Roman general named Quintus Fabius Maximus. Fabius was known to employ a carefully planned strategy that wore down his enemies over a long period of time, avoiding battles that could prove decisive either way. This is much like how the Fabian Society carries out its own agenda. The appropriate logo for the Fabian Society is the wolf in sheep's clothing. The significance in George Orwell's book is the fact that 1984 is the 100th anniversary of the Fabian Society. Many researchers believe that George Orwell became disillusioned with the society, and 1984 was written not as a fiction, but as a means to expose the Fabian agenda. This would explain why the Fabian Society is reported to control the copyrights of 1984 until at least 2025. They also control the rights to his estate, and they own and have sealed George Orwell's archives. This is how George Orwell could write a book in 1984 telling in great detail how the mass population could be so easily controlled by the relative few. Sadly, ignorance is bliss, and people are systematically indoctrinated to believe certain dogmas that are fed to them through the mainstream media.
We must speak the truth about terror. Let us never tolerate outrageous conspiracy theories concerning the attacks of September the 11th, malicious lies that attempt to shift the blame away from the terrorists themselves.
The apparent divisions between us, such as race, age, sex, culture, religion, job, and income bracket, are all just mere illusions. Many people simply cannot deal with the information that challenges their belief system. People either don't want to hear it or they just can't accept it. This is what can only be described as cognitive dissonance. George Orwell describes this perfectly in 1984 as what he calls doublethink. It's the ability of someone to hold two belief systems that are contradictory at the same time. This is how the majority of people have remained in servitude for thousands of years. Most people will actually fight to protect their own belief systems, even dismissing information that challenges it without further investigation. And through this lack of investigation and widespread dismissal, the conspiracies are able to move on, operating covertly without any challenge from the population. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Leave us a comment down below. Don't forget to click the link in the video description if you'd like to join the team. Like, share, and subscribe on your way out. And hey, we'll catch you guys in the next video.